friends, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about this book. Very excited to talk about this. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled review because, to be honest, I don't think I'll be able to talk about it without doing spoilers. But this was fantastic. I really enjoyed the first installment of the Era 2 of the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. This has your two main characters of Wax and Wayne, and they are a law fighting duo, really. Wax is kind of like the brains of the operation, really, and he's a really good fighter and shot as well. Wayne is there for, in my opinion, comic relief. Like, Wayne is hilarious. But Wayne does a fantastic job as well in fighting and carrying out the plan. And he's got different kinds of disguises, so he can get all kinds of different information. But Wax is really like your, he is your Sherlock, where Wayne is the Watson, in my opinion, based on all this. So in this first book, like, it starts out where Wax is in the Roughs, which is considered kind of like your West, and there's like all kinds of crime, and there's not a whole lot of law. So you've got these lawmakers or law keepers that go around and they try to catch criminals. Well, Wax, Wayne, and his girlfriend at the time, Leslie, they were trying to go after this like serial killer. Come to find that at the end of that prologue, Wax shoots the serial killer, but the serial killer moved in a way that the bullet hit Leslie. He ended up killing the serial killer, but he has some post-traumatic stress from him killing Leslie on accident. So you kind of see that through this, especially when it gets closer to the end climax with a girl, Marasi, or yeah, we'll call her Marasi. She joins Wax and Wayne in this mystery to try to help find her cousin. Not really a cousin, actually, it's a sister, but she's a bastard, basically. And because she got stolen, and her sister's name is Steris. So Wax, wasn't going to get involved because there were these robberies that are happening in the Vanisher, called Vanishers, and he found himself kind of working on it, but then he was like, no, I shouldn't. I really need to focus on my house, because he came back from the Roughs to lead his household as a noble because his uncle passed away in an accident. Come to find, they go to a wedding, and Steris gets kidnapped. Wayne and Wax start to fight because, Wayne came to talk to Wax and try to get him back into it, but Wax was staying out of it. Well, then at the wedding, he ends up getting back into it and trying to solve it. And yeah, there's just all these little twists and turns, and they catch the guy at the end, but really there's a bigger mystery and scheme at play here. And you see that in the epilogue. And the epilogue, I have to tell you guys, was my absolute favorite, because they mention people in here by different names that go back to Vin, Kelsier, and I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I see it in my face. There's a city in here named after him. The city's called Ellendale, and I think the noble's name who was with Vin, Elland, something like that or whatever. But him and Vin were Mistborns. And, you know, they died to save their world. So you have mention of them, but you also have mention of Kelsier, but by his other name. And you have mention of Harmony, which is, you know, at the end of Mistborn 3. Saz decides to be the vessel of the shards, so he becomes kind of like divine, because he's trying to balance ruination and preservation. And so you see Wax kind of like following, I think the religion is like the survivor religion or something they call it, which is basically Kelsier, something to do with Kelsier, and you talk to Harmony. But this Miles guy, who was the main criminal in this one, talked about a different religion. And so I'm sure we're going to learn about that throughout the rest of the books. But the epilogue was really great because it showed that Wax's uncle's actually not dead. He's actually part of the bigger crime and mystery that's going on. And so that, I think, is going to lead into the next few books. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and I love it. But then Marasi finds, or like gets to talk to Iron Eyes. And I was like, Iron Eyes. So then, because they mentioned Iron Eyes, and they kind of like they bring him up for like death. But like, I couldn't remember, and I had to look it up, unfortunately. But Iron Eyes, who was in the first 3 books as Marsh, Kelsier's brother for all intents and purposes, I forget exactly, and how he becomes one of those creatures with these spikes in his eyes. And so he is still alive, and I guess he works with Harmony and still talks to Saz. Well, he had information to give to Wax, but he decided to do that by giving this information to Marasi to give to Wax. Because he brought up Breeze, which is another character that was in the original series, which I think was part of Kelsier's group originally. And so I really am enjoying the connectivity. And I knew there was going to be a connectivity, but I didn't know exactly how much. And I think it's really interesting that like this takes place 300 years after Kelsier and Vin, you know, and their story. And so this world is a little bit more lush. It's not barren. It's not cloudy and volcanoes and anything like that like it used to be, because Saz fixed it when he took over the shards. So yes, this I gave a 5 out of 5. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. That is why, like right now, I want to just marathon this entire series. And so that is what I plan to do. But if you have read this book, let me know what you thought of it. Also, if you read all of Mistborn Era 2, let me know what your thoughts are on it, whether you liked it or disliked it. Don't give me any spoilers though, because I did just finish book 1, so I'm not fully in there yet, but I'm super, super excited. So don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the